Hello, everybody. Welcome to the next session of From Nothing, Tam's story. Now, we're going to pick up right where we left off. We are in Cavi's bar, and it has just been this intense fight. And as it is just after this intense fight, Tam, you are, you're basically sitting, you're recovering, you're in this moment of, you, you took a life, and it is difficult. The guilt is washing
Yeah.
through you, but in this moment, you hear through the closed door Alacaster Kraber say, "God's damn fools sent half a street gang to storm a fortress. Thought we'd be soft. Thought the bar meant we'd be quiet." And you hear like a scraping noise, and then he says, "Now they know who we are, who we hired, and that changes things." And then
They were what?
you're overhearing this conversation. You're outside of the room. The door is shut.
Got it, got it.
Um, you hear the response, which you realize is Annabelle. "It was always going to. We just ran out of quiet and peace early." That's a bleak way to look at it. Realistic. And then you hear some more scraping, and then Alacaster says, "Are you all right?" "I'm fine. I didn't even have to shoot much. The turrets did their job, but really, Tam's team did better. They're the reason we're not sifting through rubble. Thought they'd break. Green, idealistic types always do. But they didn't. Held the line. They're exposed now. Not just the bar. Them. Tam. His team. We can't take another hit like this." "We won't. We'll move fast. Secure fallback points and ghost new routes. We may not get another clean defense like this one. We never really got one to start with. We plan for loud now." "Loud it is." And then the door opens like right next to you.
Edie?
And no, Alacaster. He comes
Oh,
out
okay.
the room, like the VIP room, and he says, "Hells, you eavesdrop quiet for a bard."
I can be sneaky when I want to be.
"Well, you've earned a few overheard truths tonight." And then Annabelle steps out from behind him. "You and your crew did more than was asked. It matters. Y'all
Any
kept...
truth?
Hmm?
Any truths that I'm missing?
Oh, none to be revealed tonight, I don't think. You and your team kept this place standing. That matters more than pride. I know what it cost, losing the quiet and putting targets on your backs. I know that there was already some suspicion about you and your crew, but now there's no question."
Well, now they know it's warranted.
Well,
Tam kind of like is quietly considering that like Skulna got out at the right time because this clearly was never going to be the job for her.
I mean, you're not wrong. Annabelle says, "We're adjusting our fallback routes and getting a secondary safe house set up. You and your people have a room here still. Cavi's is reinforced and warded in the rooms from scrying and such. It's not perfect, but it's safe. For now.
For now.
You got instincts, Tam, but more than that, and I admit I wasn't quite convinced, you've got spine. And that's rarer than it should be these days. You and your crew have earned yourselves some pay, but that's the least of it. This job's getting bigger by the hour. I won't lie, this ain't to be the end of it. And it's more than I promised you it would be. There's more pay to see it through, and it'll get more dangerous with how it's looking. But you'll see a revolution by the end of it. Or, a quelling.
I hope so. About the revolution part,
Yeah.
anyway.
If you don't want to be a part of it, or if your crew doesn't, I won't be upset with you. I know our
I
VIP is on the way.
I will check with them,
Yeah.
but I think if honestly, I mean, I think more than half of them were kind of itching for a good fight anyway.
Well,
Um,
why
I
don't
told
slow down, slow down. Why don't you have a talk with the team? Make sure you get their ideas and opinions on it, get some rest and sleep on it, and we'll talk about it in the morning.
all right, but so there's no so it's clear where I stand. You've known I'm Kayan this whole time.
Yeah.
You picked the right bard for this job. I would like to see it through.
All right. And from behind him, Annabelle says, "You're not alone in this. Just don't forget that."
Yeah, I got a whole team.
Annabelle blinks. And then Alacaster says, her mom was Kayan.
Ah, I'm sorry. Is she?
Alacaster just shakes his head.
Tam's tail droops. Well, we'll sing some Kayan songs tonight. How's that?
Annabelle, like, doesn't seem to perk up. It seems like everyone, it's in the muted, like there was a victory, but it was, it's a harbinger of bad news, basically.
Yeah.
But then Alex does say, if you and your crew are wanting to make a difference, or, being a bard, you're looking to have a story to tell, these are what books are written for, after all.
They sure are. And on top of that, I happen to believe that these kinds of music and stories have some pretty powerful healing properties after the fact. Not to mention during.
Well, I'd love to hear what it is that you cook up, whether Annabelle is amenable to the idea or not.
Absolutely. You should know, I'm sure you caught it, but we were being watched by Braddock's team the whole time. I think I have a suspicion that they threw the Gold's Watch at us as a trial run to get a sense of our strengths and weaknesses.
Oh, I suspect you're right, and I think they found that old Cavies here might be more than they can handle just on their lonesome, at least as they were.
You have an idea what kind of enforcements they might recruit?
Hmm. If old Demerick can actually swing it on the political side of things, they might get a battalion from the Aurelian army in to do their dirty work.
That would be
That's
great.
no, that would be a problem. That's where the old Nadajdes come in. So we're going to be
All
having
right.
some conversations with Pomona and Ursula when we get the chance. It's actually aligning with the next assignment I'm going to have for you and your team. But first, you need to talk to them, make sure they're on board.
All right. You got it.
And you can tell them I'll have pay ready for them in the morning, regardless of whether they're sticking around or not. Tonight
They'd
earned y'all a bonus.
Huh, thanks. They'll appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'll go talk to him.
Sounds good, Tim. And Alacaster ushers Annabelle out of the VIP room, and you see he has like a portfolio under one arm, and they head up to their own room. So
He is gonna call out to Annabelle. Hey, that was really smart putting out the fire like that.
she just looks back and nods with a smile.
All right. Tim will go see what the progress is in terms of getting all of these dudes kind of like out and is kind of curious like what's happening to them in terms of burial, last rites, this kind of thing. If is Sigona presiding over that, etc.
So you see, by the time like you've overheard this conversation and they are parting ways, all of the bodies have been hauled out onto the back patio. And they have been summarily rooted through.
Yeah, I
Um,
imagine they've been
yeah.
looted. Yeah,
As like a lot of the equipment that they were carrying has been damaged or destroyed. But at the same time, a lot of it is, still intact and worth using. You see Wix is standing over a pile of 8 heavy crossbows,
okay.
each of them intact and still perfectly suitable. And when Wix sees you appear, she says, "Would you look at these?
These are good weapons.
Good weapons for a rebellion, I don't think they realized they were just going to be arming us for the next time.
Yeah, right. Very
Each of these
smart.
is simple to use. And then Wix looks at you and then holds up a little, like, vial. Do you use these? It is a,
What's
it's a Bloodwell vial.
Oh, do I recognize what that is?
Yeah, they're not uncommon. You've heard of them. Generally, the way they work is a sorcerer or a warlock puts some of their own blood in the vial, and it helps them channel their magic.
Gotcha. Uh, oh yeah, I've seen these. No, that's not for my magic, and I don't think that's for anyone that we have here, but maybe there are such people in the rebellion that could use it.
All right, we'll hold on to it. It was on the lady with the mask face.
I had a suspicion she might have some magical stuff on her.
I and then, well, this was really the cream of the crop, and she holds out a scimitar that has a very ornate hilt.
Hmm.
By my estimations, I haven't identified it yet, but I think it might be a heavily enchanted scimitar, which mechanically she's implying it might be a +2.
Ooh, damn. Okay. I don't have the ability to. Oh, you're a wizard. You can do that, right?
I can identify it. I just, I've already touched it, and normally if it's cursed, that's when things happen, and it hasn't
I
yet.
was about, yeah, I was about to ask. That was on the commander, I imagine.
It was.
Okay. Is that
Even if no
you?
one wants to use it, it's worth a pretty penny.
Yeah, you seem to use magical stuff,
I
right?
do.
Like
I
you're
make I make my own knife. I don't need this one.
that was terrifying.
Thanks.
Um, I can see why you get out of so many scrapes all by yourself.
The best
Um,
part is if they underestimate me, then it's easy to get nice and close, and you never want them to get too close to you.
yeah, right.
Like she like
Well,
she pokes you in the chest, and she's like, "See, you're dead."
only if you can touch me. His cloak kind of flares up. Um,
She like furrows her
so
brow as she's like touched you in the chest. She's like, "Wait, that wasn't you?"
it was. I have a displacer cloak.
Oh, ah.
Um, I so I guess yeah, we can see. I don't know if I think Hiram maybe prefers heavier weaponry than this, but maybe if this is enchanted well enough, he might reconsider.
Hmm. He does use a shield in his sword, so maybe you're right. Do you use scimitars?
Um, I mean, I have a pretty important weapon. He kind of pats Soul Singer. Um, I guess I could, but it would be I guess I could. I don't really have a shield. It wouldn't
Wix is just
be.
like waiting for you to make a choice, and she just.
Let's ask Hiram first.
All
And
right.
also if you could identify it, that would also be good.
Oh, sure. And she like as you like she assumes you're gonna go talk to Hiram. She's like squats down with the scimitar in her lap and begins to ritually identify it.
Yeah, he'll bop over to Hiram next.
Hiram is in the process of like straightening the bodies uh, on the back patio, and when you approach, he just, yeah,
Hey, you did great as usual.
thanks.
Um, I we found a scimitar that seems pretty enchanted. Any chance that's a weapon you'd be interested in?
Uh, Hiram like looks to his hilt on his belt, and he just says, "All my weapons are mundane. If you have a spare magic one, I wouldn't say no."
Yeah, I think that seems like it would be a good fit. I could use it, but I'm kind of pretty defined by my sword as it is. So yeah, absolutely. Wick is identifying it right now.
He just nods.
We're also getting paid a bonus tomorrow.
That's good news.
However, seems like the job is dicey and is probably going to get dicier and more dangerous. Are you up for that?
He blinks. Um, well, it's been pretty boring so far. But
I
if the
had a
pay
feel.
goes up
Yeah,
and it gets less boring, yeah,
I
I'm
I
in.
had a feel. I had a feeling that would be your answer. I just wanted to double check with everyone so it was fair.
Well, if we decided to bail, we'd be going back to the Maryguard. And maybe there's a job waiting for us. Or maybe we're just stuck on more escort shit. So,
That, I mean, technically, this started as escort shit.
it did.
Guess you never know how deep something is gonna go, huh?
And Skim like looks at the slew of bodies and he says, "Yep,
Yeah.
I'd like to know
Um,
who it is that's looking at the back of our heads."
Me too. Did you see any of them? You were pretty up in the thick of it, but that mercenary company, the Red Raiders, they seem to be watching. Like this was a dress rehearsal.
Hmm. Well, if they're impressed, they'll be more careful next time.
I don't know about impressed, but they did seem to be watching closely. One of them was pretty big like you. I was curious. You could probably take him.
Hiram shrugs. There's no guarantees.
When you say less boring, do you mean more fighting or do you mean something else?
Hiram like tilts his head. Fighting is not boring, but boring is safe.
Boring is safe. I'm just I'm just wondering, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you really strike me as the type that likes to use your brain as much as your fists. Am I wrong about that?
I don't like to fight.
Yeah, I can tell.
I
And this
need to
is a job
fight a lot, but I don't like to.
you you need
Yes,
to get the anger out.
Hiram like he like raises an eyebrow and he says, "No. If
There's
I'm going to
some,
defeat my uncle, I need to get as good as I can get. So I need to practice."
okay, I see. It's about practice. It's not about actual anger.
I am angry,
No, I know. I would be too.
but blind rage doesn't solve anything.
No, it doesn't. You're right.
If you're
Would
angry, all you think about is what you can do to your enemy, and you don't care about what they can do to you.
And you got to care if you want to stay up and stay fighting.
Yes.
Some would say that that also happens if you're too altruistic.
Yes, they would.
We maybe have something in common from different sides. It's just that you're smarter than me.
Yes, I am. The question is, have you
Well,
learned anything from that?
I think so.
Don't get me wrong. It is my opinion that altruism is one of the most noble behaviors a person can follow. But you must be cautious.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm getting that. Especially as this job gets bigger, you know.
Frankly, I'm surprised more people haven't tried to take advantage of your kindness.
Me too. I think that's mostly because they don't tend to believe me about my kindness.
I agree.
I get more trust than distrust, which is interesting.
Hiram just like nods as he looks down at the corpses. Everyone in this world is out for themselves. When they meet someone that's not, they don't believe what they're seeing.
Yeah.
Why are you so
What?
altruistic?
Um, I guess I was raised to always be thinking of something bigger than myself.
Hiram's shaking his head.
What?
No. What you describe is a habit, but that's not your altruism. Why are you so altruistic?
Because I feel guilty.
That I believe.
I made a choice to come here that kind of betrayed somebody. I feel like I got to make up for it. And then almost as soon as I got here, somebody that I was supposed to protect died because I wasn't looking closely enough.
The sorcerer.
Yeah.
I heard about that.
Yeah, it was really bad.
What did you
So,
learn?
well, for one thing, I learned to look better
Mm-hmm.
on the physical side of things. And for another thing, I learned that this is a hard job it is different than what I thought. And a lot of people said, if you're not cut out for this, then you don't have to do it. And I thought about that a lot, and I decided to do it anyway.
Is that all you
Because
learned?
uh, danger can come from anywhere at any time, and you got to be prepared.
These are the vague lessons that every mission teaches us. When you
You think
asked
I'm,
me to be part of your team, I asked Persh about your missions, what you'd already done. He showed me the file on the death of Kana Mist and the mission that you were on, escorting the Northamaker into town. The mission briefing, or rather the debriefing, described Northamaker as wanting to draw attention to himself through a performance. I think the lesson should have been that the client doesn't always know what's best for them. And while it might be in your nature to try and make them happy, that does not always make them safe.
yeah,
Boring is safe.
boring is safe. But safe doesn't save countries. So,
That's not necessarily true, but in this case, I agree with you. I've never saved a country before.
well, we're certainly on a path to it now.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I mean, maybe saving it is putting it a little poetically, but I don't know. I think there's a good few people in both KO and Aurelia that would really appreciate the end of this war, and for not just the reasons of embargo. There's lots and lots of violence that we could stop. If this goes well, there's a lot of fighting that won't happen because of us, at least in part.
Maybe.
You could call that altruism, but you could also call it selfishness. I'm Kayan. My family's over there.
My question is, are we looking at this from all angles? We're
What
being
do you mean?
paid. We're being paid by the Cravers, so we're working for them on their side.
Sure.
Do we know what the other side is, or just what we've been told?
What, the other side that clearly had a Kingsmoot that was like weighted in their favor and are also coming after us to assassinate us, and also have rings of people that are trying to like they're trying to build theoretically a new empire of Riverine to have some sort of political power over all kinds of new people.
Yeah, them.
I mean, I guess you could say that we maybe owe them listening to their side, but you've been in the same parts of town that I have, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I have.
Yeah. And you've talked to the have you talked at all to the people that have like lost all their businesses and seen all the people that like they just have areas of the city that aren't policed anymore?
I don't talk to people.
Well, I do.
I listen to who you're talking to.
It seems like it seems like a lot of folks here, and especially folks that don't have a lot of resources, have been hit real hard by this new king. And a lot of people are unhappy about that. And maybe he does some stuff that's right, maybe he does some stuff that's good for people, but from what I can see, he's mostly enriching the people that had a lot to begin with and throwing everybody else under the bus.
I think, from
Art.
what I've seen, we know the danger comes from the Gold's Watch. Do we know that's from the king, or is it the Gold's Watch under somebody's command?
I would think at the very least, some of it is coming from this Braddock person. She's the one that seemed to be in charge of whatever ring it was that we kind of broke up at that station.
I don't
And
know if we can assume the king's behind it all. When
maybe
I
you're right.
was,
Maybe the king's a puppet.
maybe, or maybe the king is focused on the war and is leaving the home front to his private police.
You think the Riverine is maybe something that Braddock is doing or somebody else?
Well, we know the guard that signed off on it coming in was being intimidated by Braddock.
Yes.
That's a big clue right there.
Yeah. Either she's either she's in charge or she's working for somebody that is.
Agreed.
Yeah. I have a suspicion that she's going to be a big problem. She's already been a big problem for us long before the actual king is.
My
I
only
guess the
point,
question.
all I'm
Hmm?
trying to say here is just don't assume things you don't know.
Yeah, guess that's true. It would be easy if it was just a matter of some asshole wants power and will do anything to keep it.
Yeah, we know the Gold's Watch are our enemy now. We know that
Yes.
whoever they answer to handles who? The Red Raiders? Is that what you call them?
The Red Raiders, yeah.
We know they're handled by the same people. And we suspect the city guard is on our side.
Yes. This is all good information.
Beyond that, we assume. And that gets you killed.
I wonder if whatever our next assignment is going to be trying to ask for more information about that.
Have you any idea what we're doing next?
Nope. he he said that he would tell us in the morning, but it's gonna maybe be something related to those noble people that Alacaster was talking to. Um, I guess it's he's maybe trying to get them on board to help us reinforce this place.
The Tiefling sisters.
The Tiefling sisters, yeah.
Okay. They don't strike me as legal.
They don't strike me as legal anyway either, but then again, rebellions against kings aren't really all the way legal either.
Good point.
So I think at this point we kind of have to do what we have to do.
You. I can't find a flaw in that logic.
Yep. Well, hopefully the best thing we got is that we're going to try to see this through and see it succeed.
Do
But
we
if you
know
need
what
to
our time frame is? How long we have?
how long we have to do this, I don't know, but the conversation that I overheard suggested that they're maybe going to, now that we've been attacked and we've been exposed, they're going to try to move whatever they've got on a tight timeline. They told me that this VIP person, the potential successor to the king, is apparently on his way, but I don't think we can really, you know, it's pretty illegal to distort time unless your things are very specific, as far as I'm aware, in terms of the gods. So I think we just gotta wait until this person can safely get from wherever he's going to here.
One has to be curious as to what's going to happen when this VIP appears. Is it just going to be he shows up and Demeric steps down? I doubt it.
I doubt it. I doubt it. I imagine that that's going to have to be careful, but hopefully uh this case that we're going to be bringing against Emmerich not being legal as a king in the first place will at least help our case.
Good point.
I think all of this is sort of set up to try to create a bloodless coup, you know?
Well, he like looks down at the patio.
Yeah,
So
well, good
far,
point.
so good.
Good point. I mean, as in terms less bloody in that case.
I feel like this was partially our fault.
I think so too.
Obviously,
But I,
they made the choice to attack, but we could have been quieter.
yeah, yeah, we could have. I think, they might not have died if I had just let everybody back at the station fend for themselves.
Mm,
If we'd let that assassin get away, or killed him, rather.
maybe. No way to know
But
now.
it would be blood one way or blood the other.
Let's just keep our priorities straight. Samantha Braddock is a threat.
Yep. And she seems to be a threat that wants to come after us. One of them was talking about how the next hit that they make is going to be deeper and quieter. I don't know what that means, but I don't like it.
No. I think perhaps we should be careful what we eat and drink.
I think that's a very good point, and I will spread that around.
Sigona's a cleric. I'm sure she has some sort of detect venom or toxin
Yeah,
thing.
and probably purify something. I'll let her know about that.
The last tribal leader was killed by poison, and that would have
Really?
helped. It was when I was just a kid.
Oof. That's a hard thing to go through as a kid.
Yes,
Were you related to the last tribal leader?
I'm I was his cousin.
Oh, that's even harder to go through. Can I ask,
Hmm.
is poison doesn't seem like a particularly honorable way to kill somebody if you're in a situation where it's more about besting each other physically, right?
Poison. Well, the honorable way to claim a tribal seat is to challenge the leader to a duel. The dishonorable way is to murder them in any other way.
So, not a lot of honor for that tribal successor. And that was the person that did all those horrible things, right?
No, that was my uncle.
Same uncle related to your cousin?
No, different uncle.
Hmm.
I had a big family.
Hmm.
It's gotten much smaller.
I'm sorry.
Don't be. Most of them died well.
You must miss them, though. The ones that were good to you, at least.
They are still with me.
That's a good way of looking at it.
Unless the dead are truly lost, they're still with all of us.
Hmm. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Do you know any songs from before, from where you grew up?
Hiram, furrows his brow and, he doesn't seem to know how to answer you. And finally he says, I'm not going to sing.
You don't have to sing. I was just curious if I could learn some songs someday, even if you just knew the titles and I could look it up.
The tribe would sing many songs.
Do you miss them?
I miss things about them. Some of
Songs
them
connect.
were ritualistic.
Oh, yeah? Like to prepare for battle or wedding or some ceremony.
You must think my tribe was truly barbaric.
No.
We did not battle constantly. Most
I,
days, many years, were spent harvesting, thriving. No fighting to be seen.
okay. So the songs were work songs then.
Many were. Many were provoking the land to grow.
Hmm.
Many were convincing the wilds that we were there as friends.
That's how you know so much about trees.
I suppose. I learned a lot from the shaman.
Do you have animals too that you cared for?
Horses, elk, oxen. We traded for some, we raised others.
Sounds nice.
It was.
Did you move around a lot or just stay in one place?
We traveled around the mountain, but we didn't venture much farther away from it.
because that was home.
Once you've made the trail, it's easy to follow it where you know things are growing and where what you've laid before is still there.
Hmm.
Blazing a new trail invites risk, disease, loss.
That's smart.
It was the way of things.
You remind me sometimes more of a druid than anything else. You know that.
You've mentioned. I never had a
Did you
knack.
did you ever talk with Foley?
No. Like I said, I never had the knack.
Huh.
Too emotional.
Too emotional for druidry.
Too emotional for Anth to connect with me.
Oh. Well, I don't know if that necessarily stops you from connecting to Anth. You know a lot,
Maybe. But
just maybe not magically, that's all.
any thoughts I had of that were dissuaded by my shaman when I was much younger. I haven't looked into it since.
Was your shaman a druid?
Yes.
So he was more into, or they were more into the earth than any connection to the gods.
The gods have their own connections to Anth as well. But it is Anth that provides. And it is a fool who sees the gods before the world when it comes to natural magic.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Lilus and Nier and Lysandra, they all answer to Anth first.
That's not the kind of magic that I'm used to.
Your magic is composed of notes and emotion.
Yeah.
I don't understand it either.
It's notes and emotion, but it's increasingly also books and looking at things and stories, and I don't think I'm quite as emotionally focused as I maybe once was.
Why?
I just started playing because I liked it. And I kind of avoided the stuff I was supposed to be doing because I didn't like it. And now I'm kind of learning how to like that stuff again.
We cannot always do the things we like.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Gotta make some compromises sometime.
It'll get to a point where you wonder when you will stop compromising.
Is that how you feel?
Every day.
Is there something little you can stop compromising on?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, if you think about something like that and I can help, let me know.
I pass the time well enough on my own when I am off duty.
Okay. I'm gonna ask the others about all this.
Good idea. And Tam,
Hmm?
I respect your efforts to be altruistic, but you do not need to bother with them on me.
I think you misunderstand me, Hiram. It's not a bother.
Hmm.
It's, I don't know if it's a cultural difference or if it's because you don't trust me and or maybe a mix of both or maybe something else entirely, but I don't offer to help because it's it's not like it's my whole personality. And I don't feel guilty toward you. I think you think that I'm doing this out of some sense of obligation,
No,
but it's not an obligation.
that is not what I think.
What do you think?
I think you offer kindness and altruism. You offer help to everyone you know in an effort to apply a balm to your own guilt. But I have nothing that I need your help with.
Sometimes it makes me feel less alone to help other people feel less alone. That's what I like about music. It connects people. But if you don't want that connection, that's your choice.
You are welcome to share my company, but it does not need to be in an effort to aid.
Okay. Okay. Tam will back off.
Hiram goes back to pulling bodies around.
I think he's gonna check in with Wix.
Okay.
Hey, did you get the
Before
Okay,
you
go ahead.
do, what's Tam's mindset after that conversation with Hiram?
Um, he was already kind of internal. He was like I don't think shaken is maybe the wrong word because he was shaken by killing somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's now just kind of more thoughtful and in his head. Like I think he was in his like panic emotions before, and now he's kind of more grounded in thoughtfulness.
Do you think the conversation with Hiram made Tam self-reflect a little?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So you go talk to Wix.
Yes.
Uh yeah, she's back to basically sifting through supplies and equipment by the time you get over to her.
Hey, did you figure out anything about that sword?
Hey there. It is enchanted. Um it's more enchanted than I thought it was.
Oh yeah?
Aye, it's a flame tongue.
Ooh, that sounds cool. What does that mean? It can spit fire?
Mm, when you say its trigger word, it ignites itself, and then it's a flaming scimitar. And
Oh,
it does it lights it does lots of fire to things you hit it with. It's fairly powerful. It's a rare sword. Um, one wonders why the commander didn't light it on fire during the fight.
I kind of wonder that too, especially since they seem to be really interested in lighting the whole place on fire.
Perhaps he didn't know what he had, or he didn't know the command word, or
Maybe. Maybe he just knew that it was a good sharp sword and he just started swinging with it.
could be.
He needs to be friends with more wizards.
I don't know about that. We're pretty hard to get along with.
You think?
Oh, aye.
What, because you're so interested in reading most of the time?
Among other things.
Like what other things?
I don't know. like marbles.
Like like marbles?
Yeah, I like marbles.
Oh,
I
you like marbles. Oh, I see, I see. I was asking,
I
do you
think
really think that
I think I've
you
lost the
think
train of thought here.
do you really think that all wizards are hard to get along with?
Everyone I've met.
Huh. So not a fan of a lot of your classmates then, huh?
Oh no, they're all very full of themselves and all hobnobby about what they know and that they know everything that other people don't know, and that any wizard that studies a specific school is the best in that school of magic.
Oh, and they probably look down on you for yours, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Nope, nope, that makes sense to me. Well, if it's any help, Wix, you're exactly the rounding force that this team needs.
Take it as a compliment.
Yeah, that it was meant that way.
Good.
And thank you for identifying this for us. That is not a skill I possess, and I am relieved that I do not have to do it.
Oh, it's no bother. Just you know, uh, whoever's using it, they just got to attune to it, and then the trigger word is flagrant, which I think is infernal for something. I don't know.
I speak Infernal. What is that? Do I know what it
She
means?
literally said immolate in infernal.
Immolate. Okay, got it.
So the
Okay.
command word is light yourself on fire, basically.
Maybe this belonged to a tiefling at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, all right. Well, I'll give it to Hiram and see what he thinks.
Sure.
Thanks. And I mean, you just got here, so I imagine the answer is yes, but you're up for sticking with this job. It seems like we're going to get paid a little bit more, but it's going to get more dangerous.
Oh, sure. More pay means more spell scrolls, means more spells for me.
You doing okay working on a team so far? I know it's different for you.
It's a little odd, but it is nice to have someone watching me back. I don't have to use some of the tricks that I normally would rely on just to make sure no one's behind me and such.
Yeah. Well, a lot of my magic is specifically about watching other people's backs. So,
Then you are appreciated.
yeah,
Cute
as long as
and
you
handy. I can take it.
well, I that trick that you played though, that thing where you like distorted something so you didn't get hit,
Mm-hmm.
that was very cool. That's kind of like what my magic can do too for other people.
Oh, thanks. That's that's one of the first tricks I learned, and it's just kind of comes second nature.
It's excellent to see.
You'll see a lot more of it.
Good. It's effective. All right. Off I go to give this to Hiram and then talk to the rest of the group.
All right. And she goes back to sifting through equipment.
He will hand over the sword to Hiram and tell him the command phrase.
Uh, Hiram will say it, and immediately the scimitar like ignites as if there was like oil along the blade, and it is shining bright light in a radius. Um,
That like an infernal weapon to me.
yeah, he swishes it around in the air, just, and this will serve nicely.
Good. I'm glad.
And he says the word again, and the sword puts itself out. All right. That's the fanciest magic thing I've ever owned.
Well, just be careful about lighting it up like that with Cavi around. I think he would be grumpy.
Right. He kind of looks at the hole in the wall. Good point.
All right. All right. I'm gonna go talk to the rest of them.
Okay. Who's next?
Probably Sagona, I think.
Sagona.
Oh, Tam will also tell Wix the thing that Hiram said about be careful about your food and drink. Because
Way ahead of
you
you.
Oh, you do that already?
Aye.
Like, is it a spell or something?
She blanks and no.
the how. Oh, I think we're gonna maybe ask our cleric Sagona to like purify or detect poison or stuff like that.
Well, that'll save me a lot at the component shop.
Oh, wait. Oh, unless I'm so confused. Are you not talking about magic?
No, I. Wix like opens up her like the messenger bag, and she pulls out a alchemy kit, which is by far too big to fit in the messenger bag. And in it, she pulls a vial out and she holds it up and she says, "This is purification tonic. I put it in all my food and drink because
Oh,
I
that's
don't
smart.
trust anybody."
I mean, you work solo, so that makes a lot of sense.
Aye.
Well, hopefully I'll tell Sagona to prepare some purification spells. She could theoretically even make our food, but that might be too much energy. But yeah, I'll ask her for what she can do, and she'll probably complain about it, but it'll be fine.
Okay. And she puts the tools away.
You have you always been that careful about your food?
No.
Just since you started working by yourself?
On my fourth mission in, I was handling out a solo agency. Um, and I was poisoned. So
Oof.
ever since then, I've been purifying all my food and drink. Yuan
I'm
Ti
glad.
are no people to mess with.
Oof. Yeah, I can imagine. I'm glad that you made it out of that alive.
Me too.
All right. He will go talk to Sagona.
Okay. Yeah, you find Sagona, who is she's helping Cavi like reassemble the bar top. Um when you approach, she just looks up and says, "Ah, how can I help you?
So couple of things. Uh,
Did you see
we're
the
gonna get.
lightning?"
I did. You did. You saved my ass.
I sure
I,
did.
you absolutely saved my ass. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I have a suspicion you're going to be able to let loose like that again, and he will explain the thing about the Braddocks and everything he overheard and all that
Okay.
stuff.
Sounds
Um,
like things just got a lot more interesting, a lot more Sagona flavored.
I knew you would be on board with this.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, he, uh, Alacaster sort of was like, "Oh no, talk to your team." And honestly, the only person that I was a little concerned about was Wash, and I think Wash will be on board too. Um, so I think it's going to be fine. But our cover's blown. But I mean, at this point, let the lightning loose, I guess.
You don't have to say that again. Don't you worry. I am
Uh,
quite ready.
do make sure, please try to, if you could maybe purify our food for us, though.
Huh?
Hiram thinks we should be careful about poison.
But that's such a boring spell.
I know that's a boring spell. I was prepared to argue with you about this, but I think it's sometimes boring spells can also save your ass.
Fine. You know, you could really invest in having a dwarven constitution of your own.
I would like that, actually. Could you teach me how to have a Dwarven Constitution?
I think it's something you have to be born with. But if you get it, you can just guzzle down poison and you'd be just fine.
Okay, well, not all of us. Some of us are more fragile than you, Sagona.
Don't I know it?
But maybe I can learn how to get a stronger stomach if we drink some more.
I mean, I'm not going to argue with that logic. And from behind the bar, Cavi says, "We can drink after we've got this back in order.
After we fix everything, of course, of course, of course.
Because this is breaking my heart." And he's like looking at the broken window behind the bar. And
Can I fix anything with mending?
so you can use mending to assist in repairing things, and it takes time. So the answer is yes, but it'll take time to do it.
Sure, sure, sure. Okay. I don't know if there's anything else I have to talk to Skin. I will report back to her like all the crossbow stuff and that the job is gonna get harder, etc.
Wait,
Um,
does this mean? Hold on. Hold on.
what?
Does this mean we get to train a rebellion just like the Undermountain Kings of old?
Train? I mean, train a rebellion? What do you mean train a rebellion?
You know, all those downtrodden come to us and we equip them with the weapons of our enemies and we teach them how to use them and we ransack the nobles and rich in their
Um,
deep caves and noble manors that they've carved out of the mountain, except, human style, so it's above ground.
you might want to ask Alacaster about that. As poetic as I think that would be, I think the plan is more uh have Nock write a bunch of articles and do things the lawful way,
Oh my
first of
god,
all.
that's so boring.
No, everyone is telling me that this mission is boring. I know, but boring means less blood
Yeah,
spilled.
you were. At least not our blood. And Sagona,
Not our
like,
blood.
continues helping Cavi as she grumbles to herself. And then she finally says, I'll prepare the spell. Relax.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Stormborn. I appreciate it.
Don't fuck with me. She's like pointing at you as she's holding up the bar top while Cavi is like aligning the pins to try and get it back into place.
Tam is like holding up his hands and that sort of like has like this shit eating grin. It's like, what? What did I say?
You know what you said.
No, I have no idea. I have no idea. I'm completely innocent.
Uh huh.
Fine, I'm just gonna go
Don't stumble
walk.
over to that stool behind you.
Can I roll like acrobatics to like hop over it,
Sure,
kind
go
of
ahead.
cheekily? 8.
8. So you you hop up like trying to dance around the stool cheekily, except it's taller than you thought it was. So it's
Phenomenal.
not as graceful as you wanted it to be, but you don't
So
like fall
Tam,
on your ass or anything.
that's so Tam. I love that very much. Trying to look cool instead looks kind of stupid.
Sagona just and goes back to holding up the counter. Uh, what's next for you, Tim?
I think Wash is the last person he has to talk to.
Yeah. You see, Wash is you actually can't find her right away. You end up going into the back hall, and you see that she is reapplying like lacquer to the part of the room that was burned by the fireball that came in.
Excellent.
She's like on her hands and knees, like reapplying this finish to the wood, and she looks up as you enter. Yes,
Hi, Wash.
hello,
Tam is going
Tim.
to he's going to explain everything slowly in common to help her practice, and then is going to ask if she needs clarification on anything and explain it again in Aquan if she needs it.
In common, she will say, "So the job will get danger, more
Yes,
danger,
more danger,
more pay.
more pay. Yes.
This is okay."
More danger, more pay. Everyone else seems pretty on board, but I asked Sagona to purify our food and drink in case someone tries to poison us.
Here, what is
Poison?
no?
Is there a word for it in Aquan?
You can just say purify in
Yeah,
Aquan.
purify. Gotcha. Yeah.
She seems to understand poison. She was like, "What?" She's like trying to understand what purify means because she's not heard that word often in common.
We're not to make it to like anti-poison, basically.
Do we think people will poison?
I think it's a good idea to be cautious. And he will explain the conversation that he overheard. Like, you were doing such a great job guarding the door. There were like 3 people and you were holding them back. That was amazing. I was up near the front door and I saw the Red Raiders kind of out and watching and kind of watching us fight and then talking to each other. And one of them said that the next blow they struck would be softer and quieter, but it would hit harder. Um, and so maybe that means something else, but it might mean that they're trying to poison us.
Wash nods, and then she tilts her head, and she says, "The people that attack from behind, they not trained. Poor, poor fighters."
Interesting. You don't think they were Gold's Watch then? Or do you think the Gold's Watch just isn't trained?
She shrugs. What's his difference?
Well, if the Gold's Watch is training, is putting, I mean, as far as I understand it, the Gold's Watch are supposed to be the people that guard the king. So in theory, they should be really good fighters.
She tilts her head. These weren't had badges.
I wonder if they were just regular people in Gold's Watch clothes.
Wash shrugs.
Maybe that's something to ask Kaisa about.
I would not know.
Okay, well, you did great with putting out the fire and holding everybody back like that. Is there anything that you need?
Wash, like, looks down at the floor. Help?
Yeah, I can help. And I'll put in a good word with Fable too about trying to get him, trying to figure out. I think maybe if you get him more raspberries and other such berries, you might be able to charm him a little.
Okay. That would be nice.
He is very cute.
Yes. And Wash is, like, fervently, like, scrubbing the finish into the wood. Um, Definitely seems motivated by the idea of appealing to Fable. Um, it is at this moment, as you're talking to Wash, that you hear the door open and heavy metal boots enter the common room. I heard there was an attack. You hear Sergeant Edie.
Yep, the Gold's Watch took advantage of your distraction to attack us.
uh Sergeant Edie like comes like hears you talking from in the back room and like walks around and looks in and says, "What happened?"
Uh, he's going to, I guess the bodies aren't out here, but
No.
he will explain. He'll explain that it people that looked like that were dressed in Gold's Watch clothing, but might or might not have actually been Gold's Watch, attacked us while a mercenary company looked on potentially the Red Raiders. But
Sergeant
it seemed like they were trying to draw us out and get a sense of what the defenses are around here.
So like as you were like leading him, he was like, "Do you have any evidence to this claim?" And then you show him all of these bodies and he's just,
Yeah.
"Hells. Okay. It's never simple, is it?"
Kaisa also thought that perhaps the fire that was set was set to draw you out.
Yeah. It was a pine fire, very wet, not very hot, but lots of smoke. Easy to put out. And he's like looking over the bodies. Some of these are definitely Gold's Watch. Some of these are new.
Okay, that explains why Wash says that some of them weren't very good fighters.
Great.
Seems like maybe a little bit of grist for the mill.
I suppose.
I think maybe the faster we can verify that case for you, um, the better it might be.
I want my investigators to come out here and collect every one of these men.
Okay.
Leave them where they are.
We will. Is there anything else you need from us?
I'm going to have to take statements from every individual in this bar.
Okay. We got nothing to hide. At least I don't.
It's going to be a long night.
You said that last night too. Sorry.
Me too. All right, you first. And he reaches into his breastplate and pulls out a slate. And as he pulls out a fountain pen, he asks you what happened.
Tam will
And
tell
as that
him.
happens, you feel like a zone of truth.
Yeah, I was wondering if there would be a zone of truth. I choose to fail the wisdom save.
Okay. And you tell him what?
I tell him the truth. I tell him essentially I tell him everything that I just told him. I tell him that like I basically like what they were yelling to try to draw me specifically out, and how they were saying like you're wanted under suspicion of like uh of some well, I don't remember exactly what they said from a couple sessions ago, but it was
Sure.
something about
Well,
like
Tam remembers because it literally just happened.
first because it was like an hour ago.
Yeah.
But like I will tell him what they said to draw me out, and like how that like beat where Kaiza was sort of like, wait a minute, that fire that should be happening, and how we kind of like prepared, only had like a minute to prepare, and how I really thought, and I think he got my message from this last time.
Yeah, you did.
I really thought that it was the Red Raiders, and it kind of was, but like we fought the Gold's Watch, and then I will tell him what the Red Raiders, presumable Red Raiders,
Roll me
dead.
a persuasion at advantage from the zone of truth.
Sure. Good thing it's at advantage.
Hmm.
21.
Okay. Yeah. You basically tell him the whole thing, and he doesn't say anything as you're telling like the whole story. When you do mention like the summons, you see like the look on his face. He like furrows his brow, as clearly that doesn't make sense to him either. But he just keeps making notes. And finally, after you tell everything and you can't think of anything else to say, Sergeant Edie like puts a slip of parchment into his pack. Thank you, Tim. I am going to perform the same thing with every other individual in this bar.
Would you like me to get you a drink or a snack or something?
Some cold water would be nice.
Okay, you got it.
And Sergeant Edie goes through the process of interviewing every single person that is still in the bar, which is most of the people that were in the encounter. The only ones who have left is Peck Akora, and I think that's it, actually, because Happerhand Knock is still there.
Knock is still there. I did want to maybe ask like Peck if he's like okay, because I know he's not a fighter.
He did
But I
not
guess
stick around. As soon as the coast was
that's fine.
clear, he booked it back to his herbalist shop.
I am gonna try to check in with Kaiza though. Is she helping and she doing okay?
She's helping rebuild the wall that was broken through.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can check in with Kaiser.
Yeah, he's gonna say the same thing about we should maybe about what the Red Raiders said, and we should maybe be careful with our food. And I have my cleric is preparing that spell, so
She nods. She seems appreciative of the warning. Um, she does ask, "Are you sure they didn't say that so you'd hear it for sure?"
I'm not sure about that. They did specifically talk about making us paranoid.
Hmm.
Um, so like I think either way, they've definitely have a good rogue on their side. And I don't know what their skill set is necessarily, but I think being careful about poison is not a bad idea.
Sure. Better safe than sorry.
That's what I thought. You did a great job. I noticed how you got Peck out of there. I'm sure he's grateful.
He's promised me discounts on potions for the rest of my life.
Seems fair to me.
Maybe. I don't buy that many potions.
Well, you're good in a scrap.
So are you.
Thanks.
I was beginning to think you were just all talk.
Nope.
Mostly, though.
I mean, it is what I prefer.
Mm-hmm. You doing
For a
okay?
reason. Oh, you're sweet to ask. I mean, I'll be okay.
Was that
I
your
never
first?
liked No, but I never like it when it goes this way.
I agree. But in this case, you should rest assured they were asking for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
They,
I told them that they could stop.
it's never that easy.
No, it's not. I mean, those last people at the station, I told them the same thing and they did stop. But it's not like that every time.
And it won't be. Depends on who's got the coals to their feet.
Yeah. Well, Alacaster says it's gonna get harder from here. So, you know, prepare and everything. I have a question for you.
I'm
I know
sure.
you're still pretty new in town and everything, but Wash says that some of the guards were pretty green and they weren't very good fighters, but they're Gold's Watch. Like, are the King's Guard not like trained better than the City Guard or something? I assumed that it was an elite force.
Well, the Gold's Watch is better funded, and the veterans, the true veterans, they're the ones that are actually in the king's vicinity. But the enforcers and the policers that are out on the street, they're not much different from a regular old city guard as far as training goes. Some of them, just freshly minted, might have, a better pedigree, but everyone starts somewhere.
That's really sad. I can't help but think maybe if Braddock's in charge of this, they were kind of manipulated into attacking us so they could figure out what the defenses were.
Braddock.
Yeah. You know her? You know that name?
Aye.
Yeah. We think she was behind the pressure that was being put on those men to kind of look the other way when the Riverine shipments were coming in.
The
Everybody,
Samantha Braddock.
yes,
And
everybody in that station was under her control.
how do you know that?
Because they said so.
Kaisa seems very thoughtful.
All those people that we put in the safe house, that was because they were worried about Braddock coming for their loved ones.
I see.
That's why I wanted to make sure we didn't kill them.
Fair enough. I've met Samantha Braddock.
Have you?
I have. I
She like
was.
a
Huh?
something?
Say again?
Is she like a noble or something?
She runs the warehouses out in the Four Forges. She has a whole stretch of them, right along the river. I met her back when I first started. Her and a few other nobles were. They said they were reviewing the new recruits to the Gold's Watch. said they were considering hiring on Goalswatch's personal guard.
I guess that explains why she's got such a close connection with them.
Aye. I just thought she was a merchant noble in charge of, ferrying goods up the river, down Kylus Crossing.
No, I think a lot of nobles benefited from Demeric's ascent to the throne. And Alacaster seems to believe that maybe Demeric is benefiting too, but maybe not so much as some of the people that put him there.
Sure. It might be wise to go take a look around Braddock's warehouses.
Would it be wise? She knows what we look like now. And we don't have a
Maybe
rogue
not. Maybe not you.
No, definitely not me.
But maybe some quiet night I happen to find a nice dark cloak, some free time. I might get a chance to take a look.
That would be helpful so long as you get back alive. Please get back alive.
Oh, trust me, they won't catch me.
Okay.
Kaisa seems
Well,
like she's like thoughtful. She's not really like acknowledging what you're saying now. It seems like she is formulating an idea or a plan or something.
Okay, well, be careful. I've grown fond of you. I would hate to lose you.
You're a flatterer. And
No.
she's still not paying attention.
He taps her. He taps her shoulder and gives her guidance.
What? What's that about?
You seem like you want to do something.
I do. I have an idea.
Yeah? You want to tell me, or are you still working on it?
Still working on it, but I have a favor to call in.
Okay. Sounds good.
What do you know of the Velcasts?
I don't. Can I roll history?
Yeah, at disadvantage.
Oh, okay. That's pretty good, actually. 20.
With a 20, you remember the name coming up on like written documents you've seen while you were in Happerhand Knox, the news sheet press. While you were at the Golden Press and you were looking around, you saw the name Velcast in reference to a criminal family.
Okay.
You think it might be a gang or like a criminal organization from the chapels? You're not sure who.
You have a favor from a crime gang?
When you put it like that, it sounds awful.
Who exactly are you hanging out with?
She looks at you and she says, I'm a detective. You know who I hang out with.
I'm teasing you.
Mm-hmm. Very funny. Anyway, the Velcasts helped me solve one of my first crimes, and in return, well, let's just say they owe me one.
Wait, but if they helped you solve the crime, don't you owe them a favor?
They helped me solve the crime by putting away their competition.
Oh.
But their competition was the ones that had actually done the wrongdoing that was worth the case that I was on. So,
I see.
enemy of my enemy is my friend, that sort of thing. And now they owe me a favor. So,
Well, this seems like a good way to call it in.
I think so. I'll let you know what I dig up if there's anything.
I have one more spell slot today. If I can send a message to somebody if you need.
No, they don't like. Nope. I'll do it
I-
with my mouth.
Okay. Sounds good.
Magic can be traced and tracked. They don't like that.
That's fair.
I will wait until the good Sergeant Edie has had his conversation with me, and then I will head out.
Okay.
So,
Ham uh, is at some point in the night before people show up to claim all of the bodies, is going to take out his fiddle and play. I know I've sung this before, so I won't sing it all the way again in the session, but there's that song that he sang before, Paradise. Dear Lord, I wander here below. Glory, hallelujah. I sing to you that I may know. Glory, hallelujah. Have I a seat in paradise? Glory, hallelujah. Is there a love that never dies? Glory, hallelujah. And on like that. And he will do that as he doesn't have, like, he's not really a cleric. He doesn't have the ceremony spell or anything, but this is his kind of ritualistic way of sort of sending them off and making himself feel better.
roll
Um,
performance.
okay. 31.
With a 31,
Natural 20.
as Tam sings this song over the bodies, it's almost immediate. But following and in the background, harmonizing with the lyrics and Tam's own playing, are violins and cellos and basses that seem to be coming out of nowhere. And they're subtle enough that one might think they're imagining it, but Tam, you hear them. And you feel very much as though the god of music is listening right along with you.
Do I feel better about their souls by the time I'm done?
Well, that's kind of up to you, but there is definitely the feeling of a divine presence having heard your song over them.
Good.
I can't tell you what you feel, but I
Yeah,
can tell
oh,
you
I
that
feel.
that's there.
I think total sense. That makes total sense. I think Tam will feel better. I'll ease his mind a little bit. We'll get to
As
work helping however he can.
yeah, it's so the city guards, it's not really an inspector. It seems like a cadaver inspector has appeared and has begun in inspecting and investigating each and every body, cataloging how each of them perished, if they're truly dead. Some of them are just unconscious. And as they are
Oh,
piled on, like they're critically wounded, like they're not waking up anytime soon. Um, as each of them are carefully loaded onto either the the corpse wagon or the infirm cart. Sergeant Edie, by the end of it all, pulls you aside.
okay.
Everything I hear is pretty much the same from everyone, more or less. Some with less eloquence, some with more. But when stories check out like this, there's not really any argument as to what happened. I thank you for your warning.
Yeah. I don't know how helpful it really was in the end, but
I do have a question.
What's that?
What in the hells was that creature?
Oh, it's a celestial. It's an ink drake.
What?
His name's Fable. It's a celestial ink drake from uh from Myriad's plane. He's my familiar.
Oh, okay. I don't know if anyone has ever told you this, Tam, but you're weird.
Yeah, people have told me that before.
That
I can't I would argue I can't really help my familiar. He kind of chose me, but sure, I'm weird.
right. Sergeant Edie stands up. All right, I have a lot of paperwork to file. I have a lot of new routes to set up for the beat. I'll be back in the morning.
Okay.
And Sergeant Edie makes his way out as these two horse-drawn carriages loaded with bodies leave Cavies kind of ceremoniously or unceremoniously. And as that happens, as the night finally seems to be pulling to a close, the smell of blood is finally lessening, and Sagona helps Cavi patch the last hole in the wall. That is where we will call it for tonight's session. Goodness gracious. Okay. Thank you for playing with me tonight, Emily. I hope you had a good time. And to those of you who are at home or at work watching, hi, Pen. Hi, Emily. Hi, Class. Hi, everybody else. We love you all, and I wish you a good night.